Alice Sherman on yet?
I am here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call this Budget Committee to order. Would y'all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, we'll open it for any public input on the 2024-2025 budget. I think John's going to check and see if we got some comment cards. Sure.
That's everything. Other community comment as well.
All right. Kim Clardy, you have
I'll wait till the next,
pardon?
I'll wait till the next. Is there gonna be another board meeting after the second part?
That'll be an executive, extension of the executive session. No?
Okay.
So
I
you-
thought the agenda said there was comments after.
There's comments at the end, community comment.
Well, there is an area, community comment area after.
At the end.
Do you want to do that?
Oh, wait, thank you.
And Ron, I'll keep yours and then we'll address yours after the budget. All right.
Sounds fair.
Okay, so Kim Clardy's chose to speak afterwards. So hearing no other comment or having no other comment, I'll adjourn the budget hearing. We do have a quorum. All of us are here. Is there any changes to the agenda or additions?
No.
Any board member have any? All right. Accolades, returning staff presentation.
I'm gonna apologize. My voice is not here right now. Diane Nation. Come on up. Asked for a little bit of feedback. Asked for a little bit of feedback about you from your staff. First was that you know that you're a hoot. And always having a smile on your face, fun to be around as you can see. She is a respected figure amongst the students, soft-spoken, kind, and is a safe place for them to gather. And staff just wanted to say that they appreciate everything that Di has done for both the staff and the students at elementary. So, in recognition, congratulations on your retirement. Presented to Diane Nation, an appreciation for your commitment to education, dedicated service, and countless contributions to our district and community. For all the lives you have impacted and students you have inspired to love learning, we honor you. Bridgeport School District 105 from 2020 till now 2024. It says an educator takes a hand, opens a mind, touches a heart. May you never forget the difference that you've made doing this work.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we move on to reports. Assistant Manager Josh Cook, you're up.
Not a whole lot going on this last month, preparing for final payroll. I have presented to the board some grant information. We've been doing some grant claims, making sure grant money has been being spent. And but yeah, mostly payroll preparation, grant claiming, and just other end of year stuff going on right now. we have resolutions that we will get to here pretty soon. Any questions about the grant information in front of you? We're on track to spend monies for the grants that are ending here soon.
What's the timeline for grants?
They're all on there. They vary. We have some ending here in June. We have some that end in September. And I have some on there that don't end for another year or two. That would just,
Bonnie, I think this was your question at the last meeting about the summary of all these grants.
Yes, the grants and then the, what was the other one?
the
The
Murphy,
Murphy and.
Elements.
Yeah,
well. We'll have to find those documents, the outline. So
okay,
someone here might have to check archives or something like that. We might have to reach out to the people or can responsible for the money.
because I guess it's been a long, long time since that was implemented, but is my understanding.
Those are all part of the fiduciary funds, along with the scholarships, it is scholarships and trusts, so they're in the 700 fund, so we don't report on those, it's just a really, a summary of allocation for the grants, because it's not under the control of the board, they're designated by the actual endowment or the scholarship.
Okay, so, and my understanding of that is the principal's never touched on that, it's just the interest that's spent.
If that is what it's stated in those documents, then we'll have to find out what they say.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want?
You do.
Well, are you done? Okay. So Josh, I know there are a couple of things, that the community had inquired about. The business services report that we got from you. Could you expound on that a little bit in terms of outsourcing, the business services to the ESD versus having them in-house and what those numbers look like?
Yes, I'm actually trying to find, because I have all the numbers down, but
Document.
perfect. I got it. So business services contract that you guys currently have with South Coast ESD is $403,000 a year. Contract includes services for an assistant business manager and a business manager, and also some AP, accounts payable.
Okay.
So I just want to clarify, because the 4 and the 103,000 kind of ran together, it's $103,000 for $103,000. Kind of sounds like 403, so.
It's 103.
Yeah.
For 3 various positions.
Yeah, 3 various
Okay.
positions.
that are
So
covered. Okay,
we tried to get a rough estimate of what the actual expenses for South Coast have come out to this year. We estimate that to be between 160 and 175,000. Salary and payroll, but you also have stuff such as travel, postage, supplies. Business managers have the offices they have to go to and other things they have to uphold. If the district wanted to look in-house, you would want a separation of duties. You wouldn't want your business manager to do business management, payroll, AP, auditors don't like that. It's not good practice. So you would have to look at a couple different positions. You guys do have the business manager within one of your CBA salary schedules. It's at like 72,113. That is a pretty low market for a business manager. And that's just salary. You have to roughly add 50% for benefits.
is that number that 161 to 175? Well, I know 175, does the 161 include the benefits?
The 161 was salary and benefits. The other 10 to 15 is roughly the travel and other supplies.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So you would be looking at about 115,000 for salary and benefits for a business manager.
Okay.
Then again, like I said, you want to have separation of duties, so you want to have someone doing AP and payroll. Likely an additional 75 to 100,000 for salaries and benefits.
So you're saying almost $215,000 for a position that we pay the ESD 103.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure those numbers are
And
clear.
those would be entry level,
Entry
low
level.
market salaries you'd be offering.
Okay.
You'd be very hard pressed to find a business manager for 72,000.
Anybody else have?
And I just wanted to add a little piece that the last time Reed Support had a position that did all of those duties together, there was some conviction for fraud, so the auditors would definitely consider that a write-up in the audit if it went back to.
Even now, we would still be considered at caution for having.
Yes.
Okay. My next question is, because I hear a lot from the public about our superintendent's stipend for taking up the role of food service director and sped director for 4 years. And I think that, I forgot to do my math, but that's estimated at about a cost of $30-some thousand, not even $35,000 for 4 years of direction, correct?
Correct. You received between like 10 and 11,000 the last 2 years.
And then I just did some really basic numbers based on the salaries and the benefits of those two positions over 4 years, and I came up with a number around pretty close to $900,000. Minus, say, 30, so, you look at $870,000. $860,000 is kind of the ballpark. I asked you to confirm those numbers. So we have a stipend situation where we paid someone to help manage those positions when we needed that. And the difference is some $860,000 saved to the district.
Yeah, I would say roughly, I mean, they are one person doing.
Correct me if or any.
No, one person doing all of that is a lot of work because they are positions for a reason. They are a lot of work. So if one person doing it, that would roughly, I would say, translate to that. I mean, you look at, if you're looking at managerial positions, the combined of those two market would be roughly 165,000 a year. Again, about 50,000 benefits, 160. 240, 250 million a year,
Okay.
minus the 40,000. Yeah, 250 for 4 years, 1 million a year. I mean, rough numbers, but yeah.
Yeah.
You-
Okay, so I was sort of computing that in my head and trying to figure out, because that was a question for me. Like, we did this thing for a particular reason. And when I look at those numbers, I think that plays out.
Yeah.
I think that there was good justification for that financially
Absolutely,
to the district.
absolutely.
So, thank you. Just wanted to clarify that for the community. And anyone who might have had those questions.
Good.
Thank you. Yep.
Bob, you got any questions?
No.
Yeah. One?
No,
Okay, thank you, Josh.
thank you, Josh.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, next on the reports, our superintendent, please.
I'll try to talk through the math quickly, really okay.
Good.
First, a shout out to our students for their production of Clue. I don't know how many of you saw that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And the three instructors involved with that were Patty Pranger, Lisa Gunn, and Cormac Daly. And what they got those students to do on stage was just an absolute joy to watch. Yeah, I hope you got to see it. It was fantastic. And I look forward to this kind of we work in opportunities every year. Well, what a great program that the students and those staff have started for us. She made a comment early on that they've grown rapidly in their skills and abilities, and it was really on display. It was great. One thing that I'll, of course, on the discussion from the board about, we had a conversation about charging rent to Head Start for use of the schools for the classrooms that they operate. I reached out to the director of Head Start. That's absolutely something within their ability to budget. The other district on the coast doing it is Coquille. The Coquille's program is half the size of ours. Ours is the largest. What thinking and thoughts do we have? Coquille is roughly, it's over $1,800 a month that they charge their Head Start program for one classroom. We're double that size. Makes it feel simple, but then we haven't charged them up to this point. Sort of, those are our students. Those will be our kids coming into kindergarten, and so I'd like to know the board's opinion about pursuing a rental agreement with them, or if we continue to let them use the facility without that. So when you get to discussion, we have the ability in drug testing policy to, a word may is used several times, to not test all students at the start of the season and to simply use randoms for the policy for a deterrent or cost savings. That would be a break from how we've operated at least the 6 years that I've been here. It would save costs, save some time. It's not a guaranteed drug test for students, so maybe that's not enough deterrent. I'd like to get the board's opinion about only going to random drug testing and not doing every single student that started each of the seasons. We are the only school district in the coast in our league who still does that.
Do you have that cost?
What we're spending on drug testing.
That's fine.
Well, you have to look it up,
We're the only school on the coast that's doing random.
in our league.
No, no.
Oh, I
no,
believe.
no.
No. It's testing every student at the start of the season.
Oh, every student.
Is this for athletics only?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, junior high.
And what's the consequence for a positive?
There's 3 steps. I need to read it. It is spelled out EAR, you know what the consequences are for students, and it's a progressive discipline model, losing the opportunity to participate.
I would love to see that become less progressive.
Is absolute.
Absolutely. You get a random pop, you're positive, you're done playing sports for a time. I think that that's a really important way to put teeth into it, if you will.
It brings it. Give me just a moment. First positive consequence besides meeting the school. There's the opportunity to participate in a drug cessation program or suspension for the remainder of the season. Second positive result. The next athletic season, the current and the next athletic season. Third positive result. Suspended from athletics, remainder of the season for the next 2. So it
That's-
seasons at a time. We had a community member reach out, interested in helping sell the district office to a local church. I'm just going to mention that, and that can be discussion. The last item, no, sorry, second last item. We have not charged sports fees to student athletes since my first year. And we did that in order to reduce cost as a barrier to participation. And we've seen increased numbers of students. We can absolutely go back to fees. When we last were charging fees, it was $40 per season for junior high sports, $80 per season for high school. And you might consider a markup 5 years later, 50 and 100. But whatever we decide, we need to get out into the handbook. So the random drug testing policy, sports fee, all proposal, we would need to get that out to the families ahead of time prior to August. So we need our handbook updated, depending on, we'll put to the board, what we'd like to see happen.
So $40,
And the, for the junior high,
Per sport.
80 for
High school.
high school.
yeah, 40 and 80 per season, no family cap.
Is the current,
Was
or,
5 years ago, yeah.
right,
That was our
Is it-
last,
is it in an AR?
no. We just have to put it into the handbook
Okay, so
and
sorry.
communicate it, yeah,
Verify one more time, John, is that for sport?
for
Per
sport,
season.
Okay.
and there's no family cap.
Is there a way to look at rather than a seasonal fee? And I don't really know how to, approach this, but maybe just an annual fee?
Good.
I mean, I don't know if you have those who only play one sport and if that is kind of punitive.
We
So,
do, I think there should be options, for families who only want to do one versus families who want to do all three. Also, families with multiple students playing, that becomes bigger and bigger. Now, it is possible, and we used to have students, work off up to 50% around the building, able to do that. But then when they do that, there's no realized revenue. So it's a discussion that I think can come up. We can review, we're going to make changes. We need to get it out soon in the student handbook so that families are aware.
so tonight is the discussion.
Okay, so I've heard both sport and season, so which are you leaning towards? Because we have some students that play 2 sports in a season.
Yeah, it's written as sport, so yeah, but a dual sport athlete, that's a good discussion to have. Do you want to charge them twice in the fall, twice in the winter? Or do you want them to for a season? Absolutely worth discussing.
Yeah, that's something we need to address.
So when would you like to address it? Because you're talking about getting in the handbook now, I assume you mean before July?
Yeah, if we can get it out before the sports season starts, which is the first week of August. So, and once I understand the direction the board would like to go, we can put it in the handbook. It doesn't require a lot of effort. You just need to know what the amounts are gonna be and the terms with those amounts.
Drug testing numbers came out to about 1,300 and there's bills us for hours. We don't have that yet, but probably roughly about 2,000,
2,000 a year.
at least what this current year will look like.
And a random program, does that accelerate the cost at all? Like, if you're doing randoms, does it become more expensive? Or how many do we do? Or,
Roughly 10 to 15% of students during a season get randomly selected and call it in on whichever date. The information is still confidential. They don't know, and they don't know who it is.
and cost of that?
Significantly less.
Okay,
You go from 100% of the athletes to then 50% of athletes. So $1,200.
I guess I would be interested. Okay. Random drug testing versus testing everyone. The other thing about testing everyone at the beginning of the season is everybody knows that it's coming. So anybody who's going to be misbehaving is going to prepare themselves for that test. So, I mean.
The last item is I was approached by Scott Nelson, a former student of Reedsport High School. He is currently working at Linfield with a marketer for Linfield. And he asked what he could do. He was not aware of kind of where our circumstances are. He just wanted to come back to Reedsport and help out with something. And I said I would mention that he's a marketer to all of you. If there's an interest in pursuing some sort of marketing program about students returning to school, or students who we've lost to other districts, or whatever, I guess, whatever interest the board has in working with him and how to go about setting that up. He's interested in everything from just coming and sitting and talking with our students about what he does professionally to perhaps more for the board. But if he is doing some marketing for the Reedsport School District, then that would require extra, that would, on the five of you, to meet, discuss what we see as the needs, put together the project, and work completing the project. And we can do as little or as much within reason. I mean, he's volunteering his time as an alumni, but he does have an interest and was interested in the idea that we've got students online who haven't come back to schools in Oregon, and how do we regain them?
How would that be presented?
Um,
How would he present the marketing?
Well, he would want to meet with the board and a marketing campaign. I mean, and I don't know, is it on social media? Is it flyers? The door? It is not an in-depth discussion yet, but at a concept level, the board has an interest in that work. There will be work associated.
I think it's great for any alumni back anytime you can utilize that resource.
So those would be during work sessions, is that what that would
Probably
be done?
make the most sense to do it then.
Mhm.
And that's what I have at this point.
Bob, any questions? Mr. Daly? Bob?
No.
Carry on. Carry on. Okay, thank you, John. Consent agenda, actions that are routine or usually called for no discussion, such as approving minutes of previous meetings, acceptance of donations, similar actions are often handled together in one vote by the board. I move to accept nomination or consent agenda.
I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
One board.
I just want to ask the board if they've reviewed everything in that consent agenda and agree all the way down to the bottom of the consent agenda. Jack?
Yeah, maybe it would just be nice, maybe. Maybe she just didn't come, it was already done anyway. So I'm good at your question.
We have a motion, we need a second if we're gonna get this.
Second,
Seconded by Ms. Daly. All in favor, say by raising your right hand, saying aye. Aye.
which one, the left or the right?
No, the right. Mark it down right now. So I won't
It
forget.
always changes.
I got that. I got that idea from Mr. Conley. Okay, that approves. Action, adoption of the Oregon National Guard Military Career Education Cluster Program.
This program has been around for 30 years in the state of Oregon, and we've not actively been using it, but right now, we even got one student in this. There's several pathways for students to use early service with the National Guard, or some of their credits for high school graduation. And, they can start as parts of it as early as their junior year. They can use it to complete after their senior year. Sort of depends on the need of the student in completing high school. And if they are on a pathway towards one of the branches of service, this really looks like a good living wing. Parish State uses it. It's endorsed by ODE, by the National Guard. We don't have it. We have a student who would like to use it. So resolution 123-24, appendix G, is your last item. It goes over the number of credits that are possible for a student as a result of participating in the Oregon plan. The Oregon plan does get customized with the student need in mind. Student who's got all their credits done may just participate in the basic training, and they call it AIT, which is it's advanced training of some type. So depending on student need, the support level of the family, and what the National Guard counselor works with them on, there's credit potentially involved.
Do they go travel away for this?
Yeah, they go to their basic training and their,
The commitments for a year.
it's like
Eight, yeah.
they can be transferred to other branches. If they're gonna be in the National Guard, it's an 8-year commitment, 6 active and 2 inactive. Yeah, there's quite a bit to it, and it's related to typical National Guard service.
Is there any downside to a student not progressing through the program? I can't imagine that they can hold minors in contracts. So is there any downside to someone not progressing into the graduation phase?
I've not read the downside pieces. They receive an honorable discharge when they complete. So if they don't complete, it makes me wonder if it's a dishonorable discharge because they signed up and didn't. There's
So
some
that's the piece about enforcing a contract with a minor. I'm not sure.
Well, the parents have to be part of the minor child, signing up.
How old do they have to be?
Earliest is 17.
17.
Part of it.
So is it, if I'm reading this right, so they could enter this, between the summer of their junior, senior year and then receive these credits and graduate?
Graduation, we have double one.
Can we sign everyone up?
So, if you are interested in this, the resolution will be adopted today and go into effect. I think we have one student. I would tell you, was telling me who was interested in this.
I didn't pay the motion to accept the resolution.
And so looking,
You want
to
to-
make the motion to, yeah, accept, and pay. Adopt an Oregon National Guard military verification. Program. I'll second.
Second by Bob, all in favor, raise your right hand, say aye.
All right.
Thank you, resolution carries. And Sean will have the originals and for me to sign it, John.
I'm gonna throw it in your packet, signature stuff here right now.
Okay, budget adoption.
So the 2 resolutions that need to be followed, are spelled out and have to read the whole thing, don't they? Pretty big. Resolution 223 and 423.
So the first one, 223, is gonna be the intra-fund transfer. You're all to that, let me know.
And everybody, every one of us got one, huh?
Should be. So Sean, I think the copies.
It was hidden under the pink coffee.
All right, well, there. Okay, so. It is for the 23-24 year. We're needing to do some transfers from functions. So the first one is gonna be the general fund. And we need to move some money from major function 6,000, which is our contingency fund. 500,000, that would be the entire contingency fund. We need to move it to the 1,000 and 2,000 functions. To support the expenditures that we made during this year.
That's a 200 and 300 chunk.
200, 300 chunk, yeah, 200 to the 1,000, 300 to the 2,000. Then fund 200, your special revenue funds, that's grants and stuff like that. We need to look at moving on there. I have it under 2,000. It was supposed to be 1,000. And I've already made the correction and I'll print out a new paper for you guys. So that negative 300 is on the top line.
So the 300 was going to 1,000, function 1,000.
It's coming from a function 1,000 to function 3,000. So your function 1,000 is instruction. We had more than enough money budgeted in there. Your 3,000 is community services type stuff. Your like food purchases come out of there and everything. So that's part of why we're needing to move some money from that. Any questions about the transfers?
And function 2,000, what is that?
Function 2,000 is support services. Yeah, we're in fund 200, we're actually on track. We're already get that.
And
So the first section is correct. The second section should read negative 300,000 on the first line under change. And then strike the negative 300,000 under the second line and retain the 300,000 positive on the third line.
I just misentered.
That's what.
Kim, under your comment, or you had a budget, was this any of this area that you wanted to comment on? Just want to make sure. I didn't entertain a motion.
Entertain a motion to adopt resolution 22-23-24 appropriations transfer for the 2023-24 budget.
Second.
Second.
do we have to revisit?
Rachel, do we need this entire resolution right now?
No, not for the appropriations, just the budget one.
Yeah, sorry.
All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Carries unanimously, thank you. And resolution 423-24.
4/3/23/24. Either one, this is the budget adoption, so this is for the next year, 24-25. And you can see the appropriations that we have for the next year. For this budget, so for the general fund. We have 9,368,889. You can see the different services there, special revenue funds, over 3 million, fiduciary, 261, debt service, million. Capital projects, 650. All coming to a total of 15,152,267.
And what Rachel is going to read the three actions required in this resolution is the question.
And I have to read three, not four.
Or are you talking about for the resolution number?
Yeah.
So the three actions are making appropriations, which is the
No,
first one.
that's-
Oh, yeah, resolution should be O three, because no, is the number. And then you need to read the resolution for making appropriations, imposing the tax, and categorizing the tax. Please and thank you.
Entertain a motion. Actually, three of them. Do the long chair ones.
I'm just going to edit proposal.
Okay, the maker is. Excuse me for. I will make a motion to accept resolution number 04-23-24. Resolution adopting the budget, be it resolved that the Board of the Reservoir School District hereby adopts the budget for the fiscal year 2024-2025 in the total amount of $15,662,266.81. Is that just the one we do this all separate?
No, you don't have to do them separately.
I had to keep speaking.
Yes, you do.
Oh dear. Here we go. I have to read all these numbers too.
No, you don't have to read. You can do just the final number.
Okay,
Just read the resolved part and then the total number of the total adopted budget there.
okay. Be it resolved that the amounts shown below are hereby appropriated for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 for the following purpose. General fund, $3,368,889. Special revenue funds, $3,131,291. Fiduciary funds, $261,465. Debt services funds, $1,079,710. $1,079,710. Internal service funds, $39,325. Capital projects funds, $650,000. Total appropriations, all funds, $14,530,681. The total adopted budget is $15,662,267. Resolution imposing the tax. Be it resolved that the following ad valorem property taxes are hereby imposed upon the assessed value of all taxable property within the district for tax year 2024-2025 at the rate of $4.3778 per $1,000 of assessed value for permanent tax rate, and in the amount of $702,909 for bonds. Resolution categorizing the tax. Be it resolved that the taxes imposed are hereby categorized for purposes of Article 9, 10, 11, Section 11B as subject to the education limitations. Permanent tax rate is 4.3788 for $1,000. Outside of education limit, general obligation bond, $702,909.
Good job.
Phew. Nobody else's turn.
I don't know if I could have spit that one out now.
Yeah, you just got in second that, okay.
I'm seconding.
The motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
I,
That's the end. Thank you.
Not sure if that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a school district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We need to further discuss the pay to play extracurriculars.
I'd like to know what amounts, if any, the board would like to see assessed for pay to play. Then I'm gonna ask you about drug testing and ask you about Head Start.
okay.
So would there be like scholarship type things available to students that can't afford to pay to play? I mean, that they can apply for?
If that is the will of the board, we will set up the ability to work off all or part of the heat. That's
Some people have a hard time struggling with that.
now part of the reason that we went away from the fees. You know,
Right.
And I will, when we did this before, past practice, excuse me. The Bridgeport Booster Club did have, monies available to make sure that there was no student left out if they don't play. So
John, do you know, just based on, did you run any numbers based on how many athletes we have? And not individual athletes, but like participation per season, and then like what those numbers would look like? You know, it's like, what is the revenue that we can be bringing in, and is it worth it? I guess that's. the
It's
question.
tricky because how many will need to work it off? Realize it'll just be student work that has to be supervised. If you did $100 for a high school sport and you've got, volleyball, you've got 12 and 12, you got 20-ish. Football, running 20-ish, cross country, 5, just under 50 kids for the fall sports season
So 50 kids in the fall.
at $100. Could be $5,000 if none of them work it off.
And where does that money go to?
We put it back into general fund. Yeah,
The year that we calculated the numbers and decided to go away from it, it was just over $12,000 in revenue that we had received. And that was with a higher student population.
And John, you said it's $40 for junior high and 80 for high school.
it used to be current. It used to be. And you may consider bumping it to 1,500 because sports costs have only gone up.
And that in school was 40 for the whole year.
40.
In 77, it was 40 for the whole year.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, no, terrible.
I'll let you decide.
boy, I hope I don't get shot for this.
You can blame me.
Members of the community, parents, what do you think?
Terrible idea.
Yeah.
Terrible? No?
We'll lose a lot of kids. Oh, yeah. That's one of the only things that we do have for offering.
Let's all vote.
We've seen it in little, I mean, I was part of that board in Little League. We had so many people who couldn't afford to play. We of course let them play because you want everybody to play, but it's not a big revenue necessarily. We didn't see it. Part.
Well, there's also a lot of cost to the families in addition to just the fees. That they have the travel costs, they have equipment cost.
And they have to pay, do they have to pay for their own physicals too? Yeah.
Well, the clinic actually donates it.
Don't, okay, that's what I
And
wanted to know.
sports is also a way to keep those kids accountable.
Well, it is, yeah.
So the fact that they're not having to pay, reinforces, holding them accountable, and that's a big deal all by itself.
And it also helps them with keeping their grades up.
Yeah.
So it's very good to know.
Then you might only be able to choose one sport, sometimes you can't afford to pay $50 each sport or $100 at each sport, so then you're only picking one. And then, when you have multiple kids, it's expensive. And there is traveling, we made every away game and a lot of parents within this grade right here has, so that can take away from that as well as far as.
So the income was really, for our district's kind of negligible then, isn't it?
You said 12,000 then,
Yeah.
accounting, or we could say now it would be probably 15,000.
Probably, yeah, that's negligible anymore.
Thinking money from that.
Budgetary considerations for
I would say it'd be
And
less.
that's just taking.
I would say it would be less, not more.
Less now? You would bring in less now?
Yes, because the student population is lower and when we took it away.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, students.
Is there any comment on, can you see comment on that, it's just?
Discounts for multiple family would be nice. I think less students would go out for sports. Golf's having students join just to try it out. And they love the sport. They wouldn't have something if they had to pay $80. They wouldn't have done that if they had to pay $80.
But basically back, it's out of trouble. Pardon? Sports keeps the kids out of trouble.
You got time for
Yeah.
I mean, that was one thing with baseball, our coaches were on the kids, spray checks and everybody was making sure they were doing good and
Yeah.
you know, we have seen newer kids coming in at high school level.
I like that in addition to sort of, I don't like to use the word threat, but the idea that they could be randomly drug tested at any
Yeah.
time. I think
Oh,
that's a great
yeah.
reinforcement,
Yeah.
you know?
It's easy on the beginning of the season, like I
Right.
get that, and but if you don't know when your name's gonna be called or if.
Yeah, random is a lot better, I think. They'll be changing their plans around, won't they?
They'll never know, yeah.
I think I'm hearing that there would be a preference to not impose pay to play
Yeah.
and you transition to random drug testing.
How would you implement that random drug test? Because there is a cost associated with that if you use a company.
We just talked about that earlier. Did you review that? Sorry. No, it's okay. It's okay. Don't.
So is it done within the school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
School nurses.
And there is a cost, but it's, John was saying it would be substantially less.
I didn't know.
Do random.
Wheel, you know, I know the program, not a wheel, but there's programs out there on the computer, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a CDL, you have to pay somebody to be in that, so I didn't know if the school district has to pay somebody to be in.
I think we could use a random number generator to.
I'll say, that's how it worked before, was a random number generator. I'm hearing though that, without a motion that we are not going to institute the pay to play. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
And it's a student handbook.
Will remain as it is there.
Can I go to a random drug test? There. Sure.
Yeah.
What's that?
And just go to just a random drug test.
Random.
And then, yeah, sorry, no more questions.
And then the last part was Head Start. Assessing a rent for 2 spaces that they use.
You said that Head Start was amenable to being able to budget.
Yeah, she said they just need to write it into their budget as part of their grant, because they are grant funded. Okeel is doing it. Hey, the mixed emotion for me is these are our kids. And so,
Sure.
if we're providing access, then Head Start is serving them with the dollars differently as opposed to paying us rent, to serve the students. It's
So-
kind of a,
What's $1,800 in funds?
Okeel charges the Head Start program there $1,800 a month
One classroom,
with 1 classroom. We have 2.
right? But even so, I'm just asking 18,
21.6.
So
okay, so 21.6 or 43.2.
they don't occupy in the summer when students are not in, so probably
Okay.
9 months instead of 10, but yeah,
Can you give me 2 more sets of numbers?
1890 would be 10 months.
No, look at that, yeah.
9 months is 16,200. 1,800 for 9 months is 16,200.
And that it is doable for them to do
She said
Two.
it was. Yeah, they've got enough students, I mean, because they need 2 spaces, so they have twice as many students asking, so they're ready to bring.
Are these,
And the current situation right now for them is acceptable, suitable. I mean, it's working out for them so far. The way it's set up right now with the 2 classrooms and the playground area between the outfield of the ball diamond and the parking fences.
They've had a learning curve at the high school facility because that's their first year occupying that space. But I think they've been thankful to have that much space, to be able to split their classrooms up. If they could not serve as many students, they had a huge waiting list. So now they're serving everybody. They just had to learn how to do it a little bit differently. To operationalize, say there's a playground behind the fence, we walk to a cafeteria to get in and out. And we work with them, help them with their little marks on the ground where the kids can walk, and so we gave them a dedicated bathroom space, and we want them to be successful. So helping them with what that needs to look like so they can meet their obligations. Because their requirements for service is different than in the public school. They have different rules to follow, so we just needed to sit down and listen and work with them, and we think we have everything. I've not heard any major complaints or problems.
And you said, you think that part of your consideration is there are kids, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But what is the downside to, sort of bringing dollars into the district that are, I don't want to say Head Start is guaranteed funding, but it's a demonstrated program that has good efficacy and is ongoing, it federally supported and on and on and on, like there really isn't a downside to bringing into the district those dollars.
Good.
Is there? I mean, is there anything in that
I,
equation that?
I don't know how they have to spend their dollars in their program. So anytime where we're spending a dollar in our district, not on a student outcome and on a student thing, I can be sure it's a valuable purchase. And so if they're spending it on rent, or do they just get that much more money so they can cover rent? Or does that come at the cost of the service they provide to those 3 and 4-year-old children?
Is that something we can table until July when we would be able to ask a few more of those questions?
I could invite them to come to the meeting.
Yes, please. Was that,
We're gonna have a meeting in July.
We're usually dark and,
oh, are we? July?
no,
No.
but you could,
Where's your dedication?
You all are gonna leave the room so I can explain my dedication to this young lady. And it's gonna get ugly. You all thought I was a pretty face, huh?
you're too close to his elbow there.
No, this isn't actionable, so, maybe this is something you can sort of filter in,
Does Head Start charge the kids that attend?
I think they've got a sliding scale system.
Okay.
does anybody?
So depending on the level of need, if the cost is reduced. I believe that's, again, this is not public education, it's a different set of rules, so.
So that,
I don't
that
know all
that may
their
be a question.
workings.
Are both the classrooms gonna be at the high school?
One at the high school and one in the district office.
This office, oh,
This is their original classroom over here. We added the high school, this past,
right.
past school year.
Can you review for us just briefly, why not use the HES, versus the high school, like what's the,
It was space at the time,
okay,
just the available space, and we've been able to have our high school students be cadets in the classroom, so they've actually got support from high school students as an elective credit to go in and work period.
is that a successful program?
I have not heard of complaints there either. So, the student isn't gelling well, then, pull them out of the semester. But the student is interested in, learning a career path, pretty enlightening opportunity to be in there and learn from people doing the work to see what it feels like.
It's a good benefit there, the grades, like the kids that are helping out, they get graded for that, correct?
Yeah.
Can you check those grades and see how many kids are actually functionally?
Well, let's stick with the
You're there?
original point of this.
Yeah.
What we're gonna try to, I mean, what's that got to do with it?
Well, it doesn't.
Okay.
If I ask a question, that's how my mind is going. Sorry.
We didn't say it, we'll get back to it.
So get back to them.
Okay.
Yeah, you had to remind me what the question is.
Does anybody want to, make a motion on
You
the,
don't need a motion.
Oh, we don't?
I received direction.
Thank
We're
you.
not gonna do pay to play. We're gonna be random only on drug testing. And I can invite Wendy Baird in for the August.
Well, we're not coming back in July, so I would say maybe we ask a few questions of them and what impact that has on the program. Is it, they would just get additional grant dollars, or does it cut into their funding, their current funding? And, you know, does that make a difference? Because, you know, we're talking about money, and $32,000 makes a difference to us. We could spend it on kids, but is it gonna impact the Head Start kids?
Can I summarize it this way to the board? If it is additional dollars they will receive, no impact to proceed with setting up rent.
right,
If it is going to be an impact, bring it back to the August meeting for some discussion.
Do they need to know before August though?
Three of you talking, I can't hear you yet. Sorry.
Yeah, sounds good.
Bonnie?
Do they have a time limit when they need to apply for that grant?
This is their time of year, and I need to let Wendy know kind of what we're thinking, and if it's something that we want to set up and it has to be pushed out a year, then that might be what it is. If it's August, if it's additional money, and I can get her to jump on it, then it might be okay.
Is that something we can get input from you, more expeditiously? Is that a word?
I can email the information I get from Wendy in the next day or two. I don't know if she's in office working, so it might take a couple of days to get a response.
Just to get them feedback and then email us and kind of get
I
a,
can tell you what she reports. I can't solicit a discussion.
no, I know.
I would have sent out, this is what Wendy said.
But we can individually reply to you.
okay, anything else on that? Community comment. Kim, you're up.
Okay, I just got a little letter I'd like to read. As I sat at graduation on Sunday and listened to the seniors speak about their experience at Reese School District, I got chills, and it reminded me of why I'm fighting so hard to make this a better place. I understand that the current situation within our district is affecting our students. They're kids and they should be enjoying their time in school and creating good memories. I'm concerned that we are heading down a path where this will no longer be possible, where we risk losing the teachers and staff who care truly for this town and their students. Even with the recent approval of the budget, the battle is not over. As I have mentioned in past meetings, we have had a decline in enrollment, which has caused a loss of revenue. Business manager Rachel has repeatedly stated our cut for the amount of the biennium went down drastically because our enrollment during COVID was held at a much higher amount than what our true enrollment ended up being. The district staff are the ones reporting those numbers, and due to us not reporting the actual numbers, it has gotten us into trouble.
That's not.
John mentioned we're going back to the situation we faced when we were correct. Would we be in this situation if we hadn't reported those false numbers? I don't know, but I'm not a gambler, and it seems to me that we took a chance by reporting a much higher amount of Rachel. And now we're paying for it. I know of surrounding districts that have not had to implement proto days or cut staff. I would call our misreporting the numbers mismanagement of funds. I wish the budget was our only problem, but the bullying of staff is also a major concern. I know the board is aware of many situations occurring around the school, and I want to personally thank you for listening. If these problems continue, it will only hurt our district and our kids. For those who don't know, it's illegal to have a workplace with a bullying. Hostile workplace environments are a federally regulated issue. If someone is being sexually harassed, purposely excluded, or victimized by others, they have the right to sue the employer. Likewise, employers can't ask employees to ignore workplace bullying. Employers also are not allowed to ask employees to retaliate against whistleblowers, which is illegal and can be reported to the local labor authorities. Given the amount of information already out there, our district would be in serious trouble should someone go to the labor board. We do not need another lawsuit. Since the first town hall meeting, there have been several public records requests for John's current salary and benefit compensation package, including insurance. Under ORS 192, every person has the right to inspect any non-exempt public record of a public body in Oregon. Although people are using the formal process to request these public records, they're not being received. According to state law, the district has 5 days to acknowledge acknowledge the request and 15 days to produce the repeated, and 15 days to produce the requested information. Rachel continues to provide excuses, vague explanations, and misleading numbers without giving the information requested. It has been said that it's complicated to figure out, but if they can't determine a simple salary of benefits, why are they in control of our budget? Additionally, how did they conduct a compensation study on John if they had no idea what the salary of benefits was? In closing, I want to thank you all again for listening. I hope that a change is coming to our district, that this town will once again love, and the staff, we can look forward to going to work every day and provide the students with what they need most. Okay.
Thank you, Ken. Camille.
Thank you, Kevin.
Rachel, you,
I'm gonna correct the record.
Yes, I would like to correct the record because of the 2 staff members that would be affected by the misstatement of inaccurate ADM reporting. That is not what was stated. What I stated was that the state chose to hold the numbers that were pre-COVID because there was no way to accurately determine from the state level what the attendance in the school was.
I did it right in there, recording. In the budget, Dane.
So just so we know that those staff members were doing exactly their job, they were accurately reporting ADMW. The state determined to hold those numbers true because of the number of students that had left the state and could not be accurately reported upon at the time.
It was a state level decision.
It was, yes.
That's not what was said in the recording. You go back in the budget meeting, I have the numbers.
okay,
I
okay,
would
okay.
relate my position because that affects my reputation. So if we could stop those comments, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Sorry, guys, I'm writing. Not as fast as I used to be. Heck, I'm lying. I was never fast, so. Okay, thank you, Kim.
Just. Not. Yeah. What is that number?
Kim, do you have a number of how many public records requests that were made that weren't filled?
I don't have an exact number.
Okay.
Right.
But at least one.
Yes. So I would like to clarify that as well, because by law, the public record is that I have to report what is in the superintendent contract. And I have stated in my emails that there is not a dollar amount in the superintendent contract for insurance. So if I give a dollar amount, I am violating the privacy of the superintendent because reporting on what dependents he has on his insurance is not something I have a right to do. I cannot give a dollar figure on that. I cannot give specific elections by the superintendent to members of the public. That is not public record. The contract itself is public record, and I reported exactly what was in the superintendent contract.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question.
What?
Question.
Yes,
Just to add a little bit to that conversation. I've been asking since the first town hall meeting back in May, what the compensation package was for the superintendent, including salary and benefits. I've gotten numerous responses for different amounts, but I've never had the question, or excuse me, I've never had the answer based on salary and benefits. I've had just straight salary, and the latest one I got was for 150,000. And then I was instructed to basically do my own research, not in those words,
on what the insurance package would be, and I was told what, you know, motive here, whatever. It's not my job as a taxpayer to do the research to figure out what the number is of the insurance amount that the superintendent is being paid. Nobody's asked for how many dependents are, you know, being funded. That's not the question. So we've gone around and around on this for over a month now. I still have no answer. It is public record. I am a taxpayer, and I would like to know, and I think maybe dispel some of the rumors out there, what the superintendent is being paid, salary and benefits, including insurance. I have one email that came, I don't know, several weeks ago that stated, and it was sent to the board as well as the budget committee, stating that, because I originally had asked for comparison between districts same size, comparable in size. So this shows that the salary was $120,000. And that the superintendent in Reedsport, out of these 10 districts that were compared, was getting the lowest salary of all of them. Well, at the first town hall meeting, I asked the superintendent, and he stated at that time that when he was first hired, he was getting, his contract was for $163,000. And I said, well, does that include benefits? He said, yes. So somewhere, somebody must be able to come up with a number that tells what the salary is and benefit package combined. I don't see why that's so hard. Yes, the other question I asked at the town hall after the 163,000, which was, again, with benefits, was what is your contract this year? And it was 156,000, and I said, and does that include benefits? And no. And I realized I was just asking off the cuff, you know, that was first town hall meeting, but since then, we have gone around and around and around. And I still have no answer. I'm at a loss as to why. And it's not a matter of anybody trying to find out, you know, how many people in the family are being funded. I don't care. And I don't think anybody else does. We would simply like an answer, a number that includes the entire compensation package. That means benefits, including insurance and salary, total number. I don't know why that's so hard.
Thank you, Landon.
So my response, again, is that I stated the language in the contract for the entire district. Every employee receives the same coverage, the same options. The superintendent can report himself on what he himself has elected as a dollar amount. I cannot report on things that would be a violation of privacy that are not part of his contract. If he wants to state a compensation amount in a town hall meeting, I wasn't part of the calculations. I don't know what he's reporting on. I can't compare that dollar amount with the dollar amounts I'm allowed to say. And as far as the compensation package comparison, the date on that was true at the time that the research was taken. So that was the latest thing that COSA had put out for the superintendent comparisons.
I guess I'm struggling to understand why you think that there is, what I'm hearing is that there is something unethical and untoward happening behind the scenes. And I have a business professional telling us she is bound by legality to do the reporting that she's done. And I'm hearing we're not giving you the truth.
No,
That
I
there's-
did not say that. The
That's what I'm
only
hearing.
figure, the latest figure I've gotten is for salary only, 150,000. That is not the whole compensation package. So it is public record, whatever the school district is paying the superintendent. Period. I think it's pretty easy.
On 6/6, I sent again an updated superintendent contract package that repeated all of the terms of the contract. Mr. Jones was copied on that email, and the body of the email also included the explanation of the insurance package that is provided to all full-time employees of the district. And I explained why I could not provide numbers on the two pieces that she is requesting. As far as insurance and optional 403B deferred compensation packages.
If she can't provide it, then somebody has to be able to, in this public record.
It is not personal elections. It is not public record. The contract terms are public record.
And that would be the same with every single employee in this district.
But what is that? All I have is that they will fully fund the tiered rate medical prescription coverage for Motor Plan 5.
Yes.
It's not my job to figure out what Motor Plan 5
Can I
is.
ask why that makes a difference?
Because I'm real curious to see what the total compensation is for the superintendent of this district, which has declining enrollment compared to other districts our size. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Over health insurance.
Can you get that,
Package.
Miss Deerdorf, does, Rachel, do you have her email?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, could you put everything together that you can give her and?
I already have.
Okay,
On 6/6, I provided everything I could possibly provide. There is nothing more that I am bound by law or privacy to provide.
and Miss Deerdorf, did you see that?
I've got it right here.
Okay,
And that's the one that talks about the Motor Plan 5, blah, blah, blah. And again, I don't understand why we as taxpayers cannot get a figure from this school district, from somebody on what is being put out to pay for the superintendent. What's the matter?
How do you do a budget if you don't know what you're paying for him?
It's amazing to me.
I mean,
It's not about nothing.
it's not about not knowing, it's about what you can, to the world, I mean,
I think if somebody comes to City Hall and asks for the city manager's wage, we have to give it to them.
And I gave you ways.
but wait a minute, she's not talking about wage, she's talking about an insurance package.
Just
I'm
take another
talking about
question today.
total
This is
wage
not
and
business.
benefits. Wage and benefits. So if somebody comes and asks for public record, you have to acknowledge it within 5 days, you have to give it to them within 15 days. You can give them the wage and the benefit package. And if you don't know what you're paying for that person, how are you budgeting your money?
I think violating law is not your purview. We can't do that. We can't. Go out to another employee. I don't know how,
Harry, if you came down to City Hall and helped you that,
we have given,
So I could go down and Deanne's gonna tell me what her whole package is?
if you do a formal, yes, yes, it's public knowledge. She's a public employee.
her health
Even-
insurance.
And even her
They
health
don't
insurance.
say she's got 10 people covered, they just say an amount. And I can tell you for every budget we do, I just got through 5 budgets. I can tell you what each one of my guys make. Plus their benefit package, what they get. Yeah, 100%.
Rachel, John gets the same insurance that every other employee gets,
Yes.
correct? Right.
So if it's $500, add the $500 a month to your, we're not asking for how many people you cover. We don't.
Do you want that information for every employee of the district?
No.
It's the same.
And what is it, a total package?
He
The
did.
insurance is the same,
Insurance.
but what is that? What's the number added to?
So there are tiered rates for insurance. There's employee only, employee and spouse, and there's employee and children, and there's full family.
Those are
Insurance. It's
private.
not just insurance.
Yes.
No, it's
The dollar amount is based on the elections.
So if it gives the dollar amount, it gives, you can figure out the election, you can figure out if it's an
Right.
employee only, employee and spouse, employee. So if we give the dollar amount, then you guys are able to figure out that, and that part is private. That's why we can't give them the dollar amount.
I understand.
Typically, in most districts, they have an insurance cap, and that insurance cap amount is listed in the superintendent's contract. But because this is not based on an insurance cap, it changes. The district automatically picks it up as the rates increase for all employees. So that changes even throughout the year.
I don't think she's asking for a separate. She's just rough numbers. He gets 150,000 this, and he gets $6,000 this. for this package. 150 for a wage, 6,000 for benefits. It doesn't give
Could you-
you any information.
Could you calculate the largest possible? I mean, not any one individual, but what is the largest dollar amount we could go with? Just as a theoretical conversation to,
It depends on the time of year, because the rates change in the middle of the year. So. And also the question was about deferred compensation, because there is an optional match. Again, I'm not reporting that dollar amount because that election is personal. But yes, I can say a range for the insurance packages together. But I can give the minimum and the maximum. But I can't say what the superintendent's level is.
Could you email that to Mrs. Deardorff, please? That minimum and maximum, thank you. Okay, moving on, we've seen that poor horse to death. Rod Murphy, you're next.
Yeah, so, we've got all this revenue discussion. And I just didn't want, I've been fighting against the bullying, in the school all year. It's happening a lot in the sports, as well as classrooms, hallways, you name it, it's happening. And, it impacts the students, it impacts the teachers, it impacts everybody in the district. Clear out the parents, grandparents, whatever. You mentioned putting teeth into something, earlier, when you were talking about the drug testing and a positive result. And I think there needs to be some teeth put into the discipline related to bullying or harassment. And not only that, you know, the revenue also can change. Because if we get rid of the bullying, we make this a better place to be, which brings in more kids, and more revenue. If you, I mean, how many kids in our district get bus to Elton? How many homeschool? A lot of that is a direct impact of the bullying and the harassment that happens in the schools. And so I didn't want us to lose sight of that being a huge issue. This is the last of the year before next school year. And, I've been talking about it all year. So I didn't want the public to lose sight of that, because I think it can impact not only, you know, our students, it can also impact our revenue, in a positive way. If we do something that works, that adds teeth. I've talked to Jerry, I've talked to Sean, I've talked to our athletic director, Ryan, about this stuff associated with sports. And I brought that very thing up. And, you know, we have, you know, leadership class, for example. You know, if you could have a discussion in a leadership class of an event that happened, and it could be generic, it doesn't even have to happen at our school. But for those guys to understand that change and how it impacts all those people, that's a good place to learn that, and it'll help them to understand the effects of, you know, being a bully and how that impacts all the other kids and the teachers and parents and administrators. And then also the support side of it is the other thing. I don't feel like the teachers get the support, and coaches for that matter, get the support that they need. And I think that's directly related to the lack of discipline, the lack of team. So I don't want to see my daughter go through another year of what she went through this year. And so for me, this is a subject that's not going to go away until it goes away.
Right, can you give us an example of the bullying harassment?
Well,
Without using names.
Yeah,
or-
that-
using names.
I mean, I went through it earlier this year. You know, my daughter was being sexually harassed and I brought that before the board. It was early in the year. Finally, something happened, but it took 4 months for it to happen. You know, it was a kid making sexually harassed comments toward my daughter and continually doing, it. Even after he was disciplined, he continued to do it. Did it in the classroom even. And we have record of all this. And it took forever to get them out. And so I'm saying that, you know, our administrators are being lazy. They aren't doing their jobs when it comes to disciplining for the action that was made. And it's no different than, you know, you want to call, you say there's good and there's bad parents. You hear that all the time. Well, the difference is between a good and a bad parent is there's a parent that is there working hard for their kid, and then there's a parent that is lazy when it comes to their kid and disciplining. That is the same thing that's happening in our school with our administrators. They are not following through on anything. One of the kids that was doing it in the first incident, he still got to play sports. He still got to play. And until I actually got up and said something, that was when he finally got booted off the team. And I mean, you're sitting there looking at me like you don't even know what I'm talking about. And I was in here. And I talked to all of you about it. And it's still going on. It's still, the sports it's rampant in the sports. Where especially, well, I see more of the girls' sports. So I really see it there. And the impact it has on kids is,
Is it adults to students or students? to
no, it's
students?
student to student.
Students to students.
I mean, there's adults doing it, but not adults affiliated with the school. So you don't have any control over those adults. But you do the ones that are in the school.
So basically, one reason why I came here tonight was because I was informed that a parent was coming there to speak her mind about what happened with the softball, and the coach. And she blasted everything through Team Reach, and then we cut that off, luckily, and then it transpired into Facebook, blah, blah. She blasted on Team Reach that the reason why he got fired, but we don't know if it's really fired. And I actually spoke to the coach yesterday about it, but, that it was due to two players, which we all know who the two players were, that they treated, the coach like shit. These two players did why they got fired. This parent has continued to just cause chaos in every sport that her kids are in. And I was here to defend my daughter, but she's not here. Because I feel like she knows that it's wrong. What she's doing. You know, I think
First
we
of
all know
all,
what the parent is.
Well, if you guys.
some of the information's wrong because he didn't get fired.
Oh, I know. That's what they're saying though. That's what she blasted on Team Reach.
Well, that's what's wrong with half of this world anymore is people listen to all that stuff and it's not
But this is
true.
a school.
So you waste all this time and energy trying to defend that when it's not, it shouldn't even be brought
No,
up.
but a parent shouldn't be putting this on a school function thing that just goes from coach to players that has nothing even do with it. So we're all reading this stuff and the players are reading this stuff from a parent. She's calling these kids filthy names at school and stuff. How do we stop this? How do we stop that? The school knows that this parent is in the school calling these kids names. That's not okay.
Well,
And it continues to happen with her.
Can that parent be blocked?
I don't,
I brought that conversation up with John and with Brian and with Jerry about, making it to where that, they can't, that the only comments can be made, and this is what they were shooting for, the comments that can be made are from coach to player, and then player can only directly message coach. So the coach can get them all, but the player can only get the coach. He can only directly message the coach. Can't put a public message out there for everybody to see. So that would mean that a parent also would only be able to approach the coach. Whether that happens or not, who knows? It's a discussion that's been brought up. But I will say one other thing that, so my daughter was in her, one of her classes, I won't say, even say the period. And every day in that classroom, there were a group of girls that would harass her every day. Referrals were made, nothing was done. Then the teacher got to the point where even though policy says that you send a referral to the office, you send them with a referral to the office, the teacher took it upon herself to send my daughter to the library, removing her from her opportunity to learn in the classroom. But yet, the kids that were in there harassing her got to stay in the classroom. My daughter got sent to the library. Did that to protect her from the other kids. So I can't really say anything bad against the teacher because she was simply looking out for my daughter, making sure that she didn't get harassed the whole class period. So that's an example. There's hundreds of those out there. And if you want me to make a long list for you, I'll send you an email with a list.
okay, well, I think we've got enough information that we can, yeah,
But this doesn't end here. This needs to be a discussion that carries on until it ends, until bullying ends. Period.
I agree. Thank you, Rod. Okay, any other comments on the board, John? Can you see me up there on the streaming?
I have a comment.
Bonnie, two graduating seniors who are cadets at Highland are pursuing degrees in elementary education. And maybe she continues to trespass her from school property. If she continues, you can trespass her from school property.
Yes.
I am really sad that nothing was mentioned here about scholarship night. And you guys need to know that this community gave $98,000 in scholarships to the senior class. And I'm really sorry that wasn't mentioned before.
Mr. Donnelly, he didn't even give us a chance to finish, so thank you very much. Great, my only positive thing all night, you just took it away from me.
Yeah, thanks, Sandy.
Oh, Mr. Murphy, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you.
Okay,
Sometimes I don't check up till like a week or two later. My wife keeps taking the switch and trying to get me
We
to.
got that. That's why I'm here, to make sure
I
that
knew I'd see
it
it.
didn't get overlooked.
I'm gonna move to board member comments. And before we zoom back into executive session,
Because we know we'll lose you all.
Bobby, anything on board member comments? Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone who showed up. You know, this is how we learn stuff. You know, if you don't come, you know, we hear no complaints, then there is no complaint. So thank you for showing that.
Well, I'm gonna speak to the scholarship night, because I was there,
And I was there.
and Carrie was there, and Jack was there. I think it was a night. And it was fabulous to see how the community has come together, just community.
Well, and I'm gonna throw that in too, and if I sat behind the two gentlemen that were veterans of the Vietnam War.
Yes.
And the speech that man made wasn't rehearsed, it was out from the heart. And it was amazing to hear that out of 14 high schools in Douglas County, Reedsport High School had the most applicants for one scholarship to that organization, and they found it upon themselves to give out 3 scholarships to Reedsport kids, just because of the nature and of the, the overwhelming applications that they received just from Reedsport. There was high schools in Douglas County that didn't even turn one person didn't even turn an application in, so.
So we're proud of our
Yeah,
seniors.
are very proud. Thank you very much. Thanks, Sam.
Wait, commentary. I mentioned a while back about the American Legion. We were trying to get kids for the boys' state. And you told me to get a hold of Kelly, and I did, and she was very responsive. And then she hooked me up with Brian, and Brian came through on that situation. And what we ended up with, after sending 2 kids this year we're sending 5.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
So we had a really good response. And I was really pleased with the way that they all came together and they were so enthusiastic and supportive of it. And this year, 5 kids are going to go to Corvallis for the boys' state.
thank you for working.
And by the way, American Legion post is paid for.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Thank
Kids
you.
won't have to pay a dime. And it's about a 4 or 5 day event up in Corvallis in about a week or so today.
That's really
I
cool.
was real happy about that and wanted to share that with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Here we go. Board comments?
I went to outdoor school as the camp nurse, and I have to say it is a phenomenal program to watch the camp counselors who are our high schoolers there. We got to see a preview of the play. It was phenomenal. Their bonding, the bonding with the kids, that program is exceptional. And my hat's off to, administration who helped it, put it together, the 5th grade teachers who put it together, our dean of students at Highland, everyone who involved in that it was really incredible. And I enjoyed seeing parents come up to spend some time and see their kids doing some really incredible things. So that's my cheers.
Thank you.
And the other thing I will say, and Rod, I'm not addressing you directly, but the community in general. The matters before us are very serious. Please do not think that we are not taking them seriously. There's executive sessions happening, there's discussions happening one-on-one. We are taking the issue seriously. And I'm a little dismayed that sometimes I get this sense that people think that there's something nefarious going on, that we're trying to do something that isn't to the benefit of the students in this community. And I can assure you that everyone on the board is here for the community, the kids and the staff. We're all in it. We don't volunteer tens of hours of time a month to not be here for our kids, our community, our staff. We're working on the problems. We're trying to make things better. But what we really need is what I like to call sea change. We have a situation where, people talk about discipline in the schools and what can we do? And we can't do it if people at home aren't doing it. And I want our community, our parents, I want everybody to understand how difficult it is for a teacher, an administrator to come to school and have to encounter behaviors and problems that start from a foundation that we can't necessarily correct. So watching Brave Week just was so inspirational. I'm seeing Justin sitting out there in the audience, and your church came together and did something that was absolutely phenomenal for these kids. I want to see us doing more of that in the school. I want our community, instead of pointing fingers, to come together for solutions. We need a positive sea change for our kids, for everyone. And I don't know how to make that happen, but I want to see solutions to our problems. And we're trying, but we don't control everything. And this has been a hard end of year for you, for us, for everyone, but we're trying to do it for the kids, the staff, the community. I can assure you. We're
Yeah,
trying.
I don't doubt that, and I think I've been clear about that in any correspondence that time.
We are listening.
All right, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to recess out of the General Assembly, and we're going to move back into executive session. So thank you very much to the folks for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank all of you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
I'll try to get back to you sooner.